So, there's a topic that I wanted to talk about that's been popping up more and more recently with consultancy clients, and that is delving into the world of low-end specialty to commodity coffees. Now, specialty coffee as a global market, we're still only accounting for maybe 10% of global coffee consumption, which isn't really very much. There's a whole other 90% of coffee being consumed that isn't specialty. And you see a lot on specialty coffee roasters, we use buzzwords like we source the best coffees, they're all ethically sourced and handcrafted, hand roasted, all this jargon. And I think it's about time that people start looking at that and, sorry to phrase it like this, but pull your heads out your asses. Because there's a lot of coffee out there that is still being produced by coffee farmers that we as a speciality industry don't even consider looking at. You take an average Brazilian coffee farm and they're lucky if 5 to 10% of their overall production is actually in the specialty realm, so it's scoring 80 or above. There's a whole other lot of coffee there that goes into commodity, it would go into blends or usually low-end specialty, and they're lucky to get some higher-end stuff. So I think in terms of, especially with the whole topic of the coffee crisis at the minute in the C market, there is a lot of work still to be done in specialty coffee roasters exploring the low end of specialty to high end of commodity. Now, on our end, being a coffee roaster, there's a hell of a lot of consumers out there who still drink instant and just don't really care about where their coffee's coming from. So if we can, as a specialty industry, start introducing, a lower end specialty Arabica, do it as a blend, do it as an espresso blend, or as a single origin or something. It's helping to introduce people who maybe aren't too bothered about specialty into this world of specialty without blowing their minds with a mental 89 scoring Ethiopian or something. And I think this is also going to start doing a couple of things. A, opening up the market, but create greater growth sustainability for coffee roasters in the market. We can't just rely on everybody buying the best coffee. If you are buying specialty coffee, it kind of goes without saying that your coffee is going to be ethically sourced, unless you are actually going out there to the farmer and writing up sale contracts with them. The importers are doing the ethical sourcing for you, you're just buying it from an importer. So all these sort of buzzwords, they are starting to die down a little bit, which I'm really thankful for. And handcrafted, I really hate the phrase handcrafted with a passion, because you're not fucking there hand cranking it, are you? It goes into a roaster. Anyway, going on a tangent. So yes, looking at options of low-end specialty to commodity coffees, starting to create more sustainable growth for coffee roasting businesses, because there are a lot of cafes, offices, consumers in general out there who don't want or don't necessarily care too much about high-end specialty coffee. To them, it's just a coffee that costs a lot and they can't really tell the difference between an 80 point and an 89 point. They probably could, but they're not that fussed, which is fine. When you go to the pub, not everybody's there drinking craft beers. There's Joe who likes his pint of Carling, which is fine. He's still drinking beer, but he maybe just doesn't want that punk IPA or whatever other high-end craft beer, whatever. So I think it's great for people to start exploring these other facets of coffee out there. I'm not saying everybody has to go and start roasting a dark roast Robusta blend of whatever. There are some good Robustas out there. I'm not saying everybody go try some Robusta. I'm not saying you have to go into commodity and look at Robusta. You can get some, half decent commodity Brazils, Colombians, Sumatrans, Ethiopians even. And they're not crazy expensive, to buy in, obviously because they're of a lower grade. But you can say to your importer, if you wanted to pay a little bit extra for this coffee, do they have the relationships to go to the cooperative or to the farmer and say, look, these guys are wanting to buy this coffee, can they pay you an extra £1 a kilo? And things like that are going to potentially start helping the farmers, and in this terrible coffee crisis, But again, it's helping sustainable growth of coffee roasteries. So I think it is about time that people start looking at commodity, low-end specialty. I'm not saying don't stop doing all your high-end specialty stuff, because you know me, I love all that stuff. But it is time to start looking at other options for sustainability of the coffee market, the coffee industry, and just to help us all kind of start growing. There are even specialty roasters who are roasting, you know, your higher end of specialty. You could get like a 86 to 88 scoring Colombian, but roasting that darker for this sort of market where they're not used to the high acidity and the brightness and the tea-like flavours of some specialty coffees, but they still want to be buying the better ethically sourced, better buying practices of specialty roasters, maybe not necessarily with their flavour profile. So you get a good specialty coffee and you roast it a little bit darker to suit their flavour preferences. And again, it's creating a bigger market for yourselves, and you know, create more income. You can pay the bills, and at the end of the day, we all have to pay the bills. So yeah, just a little thought for this one. That's all I really had to say. See you next time. Bye.